It's inauguration match week for the San Diego Football Club. The Padres spring training is in full swing, and the Aztecs and Tritons continue to build their resumes for the NCAA tournament. The final quarter on CBS 8 Plus is right now.
The final quarter begins right now.
All right, welcome to the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus. John Howard along with Karthik Venkatraman. Karthik, any opening words?
My opening words are, how's Jake Garriani doing on the way back from spring training, man? He's in the car. He's working, man. He's the one working here.
Yeah, Jake, how's the road trip going?
Yuma, baby.
Yeah, just like I texted you earlier.
Back, we're in Yuma.
Just as I texted you earlier, you my homie. So, you know, I knew you'd be around in that area today. And that's my guy right there. That's Jake Garriani.
Very nice. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the Padres in spring training. And Jake, since you are on the road back, you've been out there for about 3 days. Initial impressions for this team coming up. There was a lot of talk in the offseason that the front office management didn't do enough to get personnel in. But now that you've been there for 3 days, your thoughts on how this team's going to shape up?
Yeah, I mean, most spring trainings are all about optimism, right? This one, no different. Plenty of optimism after being out here for about 3 days and hearing from the players. One of the big things that I took away, John and Karthik, from spring training was that the players, while it was all kind of panic on the outside for everybody, the players are very calm. They have a ton of confidence in the team that they have, in the roster that they have. And, you know, I think they're looking forward to this season, and it's not doomsday like it felt like for all the fans. And we actually were able to catch up, by the way, with the CEO of the Padres, Eric Grupner, and even the commissioner of baseball. And I asked them a lot about the lawsuits that are going on with. And really the big takeaway was that the Padres are fine and that it's going to be business as usual for the San Diego Padres. I mean, let's not forget this team's still going to have a $200 million plus payroll. So I think it's optimism for sure coming out of spring training, even though it feels like for a lot of fans that optimism.
Well, it looks like we lost Jake there a little bit. Hey, that's part of the trip coming back through the deserts in Arizona, man.
that or he's posing, but it does look like he's active again. Karthik, you got anything you want to throw at him?
Yeah, Jake, just kind of what is the vibe? You talk to a lot of the players about, the Dodgers making a lot of moves and, the Padres' lack of moves. What's the vibe around the locker room as spring training is beginning to begin about the roster that they just have in place right now?
I mean, it's confidence, Karthik. The whole team is very confident in the guys they have. It's kind of been the same thing we've been reiterating back there on the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus, that this is still a really good roster, right? Like, you look around that clubhouse, I walk in there, and there's Manny Machado, and there's Fernando Tatis Jr., there's the 3-time batting champion Luis Arias, and then you start to look at the pitching rotation, and you go, oh, now that the pretty sweet here, you Darvish, Michael King, Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta. And then the competition for that 5th spot is unbelievable with Matt Waldron and Kyle Hart, the new guy from the KBO, and Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito. So honestly, it's a lot of confidence in that clubhouse, and there was no messing around. They said, look, our goal is to win a World Series. From the top down, CEO Eric Grupner said, our goal is to win a World Series. Manny Machado said it to me multiple times. Our goal is to win a World Series. They're not feeling sorry for what the Dodgers did. This team thinks they can win a World Series, and they believe they have the talent to.
Jake, you also heard from MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred while you were over in Arizona. What were your major takeaways of what he had to say just moving forward with the Padres and just the Padres as an organization?
Yeah, I asked him a lot about I shouldn't say a lot, but I asked him about the Padres' health of the franchise. I couldn't directly ask him about the lawsuits because he can't comment on them, but Rob Manfred said he thought the Padres were in great health and that the Eric Grupner and Eric Kutsenda have done a great job of keeping the Padres afloat, if you will, not only afloat, but doing well in revenue after the passing of Peter Seidler, and that when John Seidler takes over, that he believes the Padres will be business as usual and still be great. And the commissioner had a lot of great things to say about San Diego, which is good to hear considering that, a couple of years ago they were worried about the amount of money the Padres were spending or a certain debt that they might be in. But the commissioner had a lot of good things to say about the Padres and thought that the Erics, Grupner, and Kutsenda had done a great job in the the interim roles there for Casenda at least.
Jake, you did a great job chalking up some of the returners on this team, and the company likes to call them a championship core. But the losses they had, Hassan Kim is gone, Jerkson Profar is gone, Joe Musgrove out for the year with a bad elbow. What about replacing those losses? Can the Padres replace them to bring back what was a very successful regular season last year?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, John, they kind of already have, right? We'll see what happens out there in left field, but you bring in a 15-year, I believe, veteran in Jason Hayward, who still plays Gold Glove defense. He can hit righties really well. Maybe he platoons a little bit with the San Diego native Connor Joe out there in left. Maybe a guy like Tirso Ornelas gets some time. And then you think about the Ha-Seong Kim situation, and Xander Bogaerts slides back over to shortstop. Jake Cronenworth moves over to second base, right? Arise at first, and you kind of go, okay, that's filled. And then as far as Joe being out, well, that's why you signed Nick Pivetta to a 4-year, $55 million deal, because you believe in this guy. You think, and he's shown that he has really nasty stuff. Maybe his numbers aren't the greatest things in the world, but you look at what Ruben Niebla has done with just about every pitcher he's ever had, and you go, all right, I think Nick Pivetta could do some really great things in the brown and gold of the Padres. So does it hurt to lose Jerkson Profar and Ha-Seong Kim and Kyle Higashioka? Yeah, absolutely. But are they irreplaceable? Excuse me. I don't think so.
All right.
Or yes.
Well put. I would agree with that, and it'll be fun and interesting to follow this team to see where they end up going. Let's switch gears now to football, European football, that is. San Diego Football Club has its inaugural match this weekend against the LA Galaxy. This has been a team in the making for a couple of years now. I think all of us are very excited to see what they end up doing. We recently got to hear from coach and player about their optimism and what kind of success SDFC can have in their rookie season.
I can feel the energy that everybody wants to be a part of a new history and a new club, and it's not something you will try maybe in your lifetime to be a part of a whole new club, a whole new story. We are writing the story of San Diego and how we're gonna play, but I have a very big optimism about the playing style. I know it from FC Nordsjælland, and just the philosophy that I have a big belief that we can do damage to the league.
I think the level here has been really high. I think seeing the level of the other teams in preseason also, I think we'll have a really good team this year and that we can do something special.
And we're definitely going to be competitive at some point. It's in terms of winning games. It's now a matter of how quickly can we get there. And we'll only know once the ball starts rolling against MLS competition and you get punched in the face for the first time.
Yeah. You're not looking forward to the punches in the face.
No, I love the punches in the face. The only way you grow is by getting punched in the face. And the only way we actually know where we stand is by hitting a challenge and going like, okay, no, we have to improve this. And so if we want to do something special, I want those challenges as soon as possible, actually.
Mikey Veras with a great soundbite there. He likes getting punched in the face, basically so his team can learn from it. Jake, let me ask you, you played football collegiately. Do you understand what he's saying there? Is it good to get popped and thrown down to the ground a couple of times so you know what to do to avoid that happening again?
Yeah, I didn't play that style of football collegiately, the other one. But, yeah, I mean, look, it's going to happen, right? You're an expansion franchise. You're going to get, quote-unquote, punched in the face a few times. You just hope that they could get back up from those punches. It's going to be interesting to see how SDFC does in this inaugural year. I mean, there's no easing into it. They open up with the defending MLS champions in the Galaxy. So if they're going to take a punch, it's probably going to come pretty soon. I think we got to see a little bit of what this team offers up in Coachella when they had the scrimmages against some of the other MLS teams, and it was a slow start for them up there, but then they started to put some stuff together, and you saw some flashes, and you go, all right, SDFC might be able to get out there and compete with these other MLS teams. I'm beyond excited to see how this team does. It feels, just from the outside looking in, that they've done everything the right way. They've built this thing up the right way. Now can you go out there and win some matches? Now can you go out there and compete with the likes of the LA Galaxy and hopefully not take too many punches to the face?
Karthik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be an exciting season coming up. And as Jake mentioned there, they finished off the preseason very strong with a 6-0 victory against the New York Red Bulls. As I look to the season, I look at some of the guys that are on the top of the roster, like Boateng. You got Lozano. Lozano's a guy that I'm very excited for, Chucky Lozano. The way that he was play creating in that last preseason game and also scoring himself, I think, that's a guy with World Cup experience. He could be fantastic for that team and, help lead them to some success. The depth is always something you're interested in with an expansion team and kind of how it's all going to shake out. So there will be a lot. That first game against the LA Galaxy is going to be a tough one this upcoming Sunday. And, we'll see how it all shakes out for them and how it goes. But I'll tell you what, if they can deliver a punch to the face to the LA Galaxy in the first game of the season, rivalry on. I know there's a lot of rivalry talk when it comes to San Diego and LA. There would be no better way to introduce themselves to another iteration of an LA-San Diego rivalry. If they can go get a win over on the road against the Galaxy, we'll see how it all shakes out for them.
No doubt about that, Karthik. And on the flip side, you mentioned they knocked off the New York City Red Bull 6-0. Prior to that, up at Coachella Valley, they lost to New York City FC 3-1 and the Portland Timbers 3-0. So an aggregate 6-1, knocked to the head, but then they deliver a bloody nose to Red Bull 6-0. We've got some predictions on tape from 3 of the players on what they think will happen this Sunday in the inaugural match, SDFC playing at the LA Galaxy. Here's what they had to say. Question, which is impossible to answer, but I'll go ahead and ask it. I want a prediction, the first San Diego FC versus LA Galaxy match. Who's going to win and what's the final score going to be?
We are going to win and it's going to be a solid 3-1 victory.
3-1?
Yes.
Sweet. Yebby, how about you?
Yeah, I'll take that one. That sounds good.
You want to give me a prediction on the inaugural match for SDFC? Who's going to win? What's the final score?
I'll take a 1-0 win away.
Sweet. Okay, we'll take that. All right, hopefully the LA Galaxy doesn't catch wind of this videotape and use it as bulletin board material. I appreciate the players having fun with us and giving us a prediction. Karthik, what do you think?
I'm a little shocked. Usually, one player will maybe give you a little score prediction and the rest of them will be like, we're just trying to get prepared for our first game. The fact that multiple players gave you a soundbite, John Howard, this team must feel really confident in themselves. We'll see if they can deliver.
Jake, any thoughts what you think might happen in this opening match? And you've already mentioned, man, defending champs.
I mean, I'm absolutely digging the confidence out of this team. I don't know how well they'll hang with LA Galaxy. I mean, that's obviously, it goes without saying, considering they currently hold the MLS Cup. A great team up there, but I'm super here for the confidence. So here's what I'll say, because let's give it a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in the opening match for SDFC. They dipped the toe in the water. They feel pretty good about themselves. They went up on the road. They get a draw against the defending Cup champions, and then they're ready to rumble. That's my confidence, is a draw.
All right, Jake, Mr. Switzerland with the 1-1 draw prediction. I'll give them a 1-0 win. Karthik, real quick, your thoughts on a prediction?
Galaxy 3-1.
Galaxy 3-1. All right, let's advance the show. Final topic, Aztecs and Tritons. They continue to build their resumes. We're going to show you some rankings, how the two schools currently rank in 3 different areas. The NCAA net ranking up top there, the Aztecs 48, UCSD 41, the Ken Palm ranking 41 and 40. And to interpret the Luzardi there, Mr. Bracketologist, the Aztecs are one of the last 4 teams in, which means they would have to play a play-in game as an 11 seed. UCSD currently in the bracket as an 11 seed. And I think as you look at these numbers, Karthik, quite similar. I mean, look at Ken Palm, 41 and 40. It's going to be a kick in the pants to see 2 teams from San Diego in the NCAA tournament. And I think if Selection Sunday was tomorrow, I think they would both be in.
I think quite similar when you look at the numbers, but I think quite different stories when you really kind of dig in a little deeper. San Diego State has 2 massive games coming up, right? They got on the road against Utah State, at home against New Mexico. Those are the top 2 teams in the conference who they've already lost to this season, but they're coming off 2 dominant wins, a 17-point win over Boise State, in which they were up by 20+ in that game, and they were up by almost 30 on Fresno State last night before winning by 23. San Diego State's playing really good basketball. They get those 2 wins. I think you close to solidify them as an at-large bid going into the tournament, as long as, they probably don't lose to a team they don't want to lose to in the first round of the Mountain West Conference tournament. For UC San Diego, I say this is a different story, because while the NET rankings, definitely favor UC San Diego, you look at their quad 1 and quad 2 opportunities, they don't have a lot, and they have a quad 4 loss. So, this is a team that's likely going to have to win their conference tournament to make the NCAA tournament, which would really suck, because to be honest, when I watch them, and I said this last week as well, they're such a good team when you watch them, and I would feel, really disappointed if a team like North Carolina, who's 1-10 in quad 1 games, were to get in over a UC San Diego because they were 2-2, or they end up being 2-3 because they lose to a UC Irvine in their championship game of their conference tournament. I think that would be absolutely despicable, and I think that would show a lot to the selection committee that they haven't watched UC San Diego play much this season. I would hate to see that, but last year we saw VCU. They had a really good NET ranking. They didn't make the NCAA tournament as an at-large bid, even though they were solid, and there's a lot of questions around them this year as well. And I think they're top 40 or close to it in NET rankings. It's possible they might get left out again if they were to stumble, one step along the way after having, a NET ranking that, would get them in. But, the NET ranking doesn't really show the whole entire picture, even though the NCAA uses it as such a huge tool. It's those quad 1 and quad 2 victories that they really look at. And did you stumble along the way in the quad 3 and quad 4? And unfortunately for UC San Diego, they have a quad 3 loss and a quad 4 loss, and not many quad 1, quad 2 victories.
Well, and I think what's really interesting, UC San Diego is an unknown to the rest of the country. This is their first year of postseason eligibility in Division I. Everyone knows about the Aztecs. They made it to the championship game 2 years ago. Really nobody knows, except for those of us out on the West Coast, about UCSD. I can't wait to see what the Tritons do. They're going to give whoever they face fits. Jake, your thoughts quickly on Aztecs and Tritons and what might happen?
Yeah, you guys got it really well covered there. I agree with almost everything you said there. I think UCSD gets in, man. I think they will getting in there. And then when you talk about the Aztecs, I think Karthik really, these next games are huge for San Diego State, right? They got Utah State, New Mexico, and then at Wyoming, which is an incredibly difficult place to play. At UNLV, already lost to, and then at Nevada. I just think this is the tale of the Aztec season in these final 5 games. I hate to compartmentalize into 5 games, but it's going to be massive for San Diego State to finish up the season strong here. And again, I'm taking UCSD, Big West champs, baby.
All right, outstanding. It's great to see 2 schools from San Diego getting it done. We got to get the Toreros back on track.
Hey, all they got to do is win their conference tournament. They're in too.
Oh, yeah. It's like 5 wins in 5 days or something. All right, that's it for this edition of the Final Quarter on CBS 8 Plus. On behalf of Karthik, Venkatraman, Jake, Gary, Annie on the road, I'm John Howard. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on CBS 8 Plus.